reading out of the New King James translation. Mark chapter 6, verse 1 through 6. Please stand, which is our custom, for reading of the Word of God. It says, "Then he went out from there and came to his own country, and his disciples followed him. And when the Sabbath had come, he began to teach in the synagogue. And many hearing him were astonished, saying, 'Where did this man get these things? And what wisdom is this which is given to him, that such mighty works are performed by his hands? Is this not the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph, Judas and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?' So they were offended at him. But Jesus said to them, 'A prophet is not without honor except in his own country, among his own relatives, and in his own house.' Well, now he could do no mighty work there, except that he laid his hands on a few sick people and healed them. And he marveled because of their unbelief. Then he went about the village in a circuit, teaching." That's in the reading of the text. I want to use for this thought, you can't go home again. Well, right. Now that subject sounds strange. You can't go home again. Yeah. But when you dissect it, when you look at some other variables, other reasons, there comes a time when you just can't go home again. Yeah, I understand that, Pastor, but what about the prodigal son? He went home again. Well, read that text again. He was able to come home. He left home because of his own ambition. And he came back home when he came to himself. And when he acknowledged that the problem was not his father, the problem was him and him alone. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is not any particular personal sin, but the problem happens to be those at home? Well, American author Thomas Wolfe wrote a novel called You Can't Go Home Again. And the main character in this novel, in his book, is George Webber. George Webber, as a character, wrote a successful book about his hometown. And the story goes on to say, upon his return home, he expected a hero's welcome. He expected the parade and people to pat him on the back. But instead, he is driven out of town by his own family and his own friends, who felt betrayed by what he wrote about them in his book. He wrote some things that he perceived was the truth. It was factual about them. And Weber is shaken by the hometown's reaction to what he had written about them in his book. And so he leaves his hometown behind him to go find himself. Weber discovered is that those who think they know you the best and tend to respect you the least. That's what he discovered. That those who think they know you tend to disrespect you, which brings us to our text this morning. Jesus has returned to his hometown of Nazareth. Again, upon his return, things did not go the way one might expect them to go, because after all, he is now a celebrity in chapter 6. He has been going around the cities, around Galilee, preaching and teaching and healing the sick and casting out demons and raising the dead and controlling the forces of nature by his word and by his power. And Jesus has proven already that there's something very special about him. There's something not only special about him, but there's something different about him. He is Jesus, the Son of God. And earlier chapter, he during his last visit to Nazareth, things didn't go quite well as he had expected. In Luke chapter 4, when you read Luke chapter 4, he went into the synagogue and he preached from the prophetic writings of Isaiah 61. And in Isaiah, he proclaimed in the hearing of the Jews that he was the anointed Messiah who has come to deliver his people from bondage. And yet, when the people of Nazareth rejected his message, the text says they tried to throw him downhill on his head. And somehow he was able to escape their presence, and he left Nazareth and began to preach in the other places throughout Galilee. That was the last time he was in Nazareth. But the text says he has come back home a second time. It's a year later. And upon his return to the very place, he was cruelly rejected. He wants to give his family, he wants to give his friends and neighbors another chance to receive him and his message, my brothers and sisters. He has returned back a second time. And that tells me that sounds like grace to me. Well, thank God for his good grace. Yeah. Because I find it amazing, my brothers and sisters, that God will give you and he will give me one more chance. Not only one more chance, but he gives us opportunity after opportunity to get right with him. I thank God for his good grace. Because grace woke me up this morning. Grace put running in my feet and clapping in my hands. Grace put a smile on my face in spite of all that he woke us up this morning. And if the truth be told, God gave us more than one chance. He gave us more than 3 chances. He gave us more than 10 chances. He keeps blessing us in spite of our sin. He comes this morning a second time. And if you are alive this morning, my brothers and sisters, and haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior, then you need to give him one more chance. You need to give him another opportunity to get right with him and get your heart right with him before death comes. All right. And so when Jesus arrives at Nazareth, he is greeted by, the text says, by an anxious crowd of his hometown folk. And what happens next in this particular text speaks volume to those, not only those who are saved, but also to those who do not know Christ on a personal level. Pay close attention now. When you look at this text, to the people's reaction to Jesus' teaching and preaching. Look at verse 1 and 2 of the text. Something about their perception of him and how they relate to him, how they react to him. Pay close attention to how they relate to his preaching and teaching. And not only that, but to his personhood. Because their reaction cost him his power. Their reaction to him cost him the desire to reveal the greatness of his power. And as we analyze these verses, note the ways in which the people responded to him and what their responses were to him. The first point I see in this text, the people were shocked by his preaching in verse 2. The moment Jesus opened his mouth and started teaching the word of God, Mark says they were all astonished. They were astonished. They were shocked. They were struck with fear by his words, by his wisdom, and by his works. That's what verse 2 tells me. Is that they were astonished. And when the Sabbath had come, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many hearing him were astonished. Yeah. Where did this man get these things? And what wisdom is this which he is given to us, that such mighty works are performed by his hands? They were shocked by his words, by his wisdom, and by his works. They were shocked. When Jesus preached, my brothers and sisters, you got to understand, he was the greatest preacher to ever live to walk this earth. Well, after Jesus comes Paul, but Jesus is the greatest preacher. And we know that because when people heard him, you only had one or two responses. Either you're going to receive him or you're going to reject him. And we know that thousands flocked to him because of his teaching and because of his preaching. But the text says that when Jesus preached, he preached with power and with thought. And power is not always volume. Power deals with substance. He preached with substance and he preached with authority. In other words, when the rabbis would teach, they always quote somebody else. Aristotle, they'll quote Aristotle, they'll quote Socrates, they'll quote some other philosophers and the teachers of his day. But no, not when Jesus preached, when Jesus taught, he spoke as though he himself authored what he was talking about. He talked like he was there when it was going on. He talked like he was there in the beginning when God said, let us make man in our image and in our likeness. He was there like he was there when Moses was on the rock on the mountain and the power of God moved by and hid him in the cliffs of the mountain. When Jesus spoke, he spoke with authority and with power. They were shocked, all shocked by his words. That's what the text says in verse 2. And then not only were they shocked by his words, but the text says they were shocked and astonished at his wisdom. Because he had wisdom when he spoke. You know, wisdom is information. It's knowing how to share what you know and to give understanding to those who don't know in order that they might know. His word was filled with truth. And that truth gave enlightenment. That truth gave understanding. It gave light to those who were in darkness. It gave understanding to those who were ignorant. When he spoke, people heard, proclaimed the old story and truth in new ways. When Jesus talked about water, and he talked about how water is like the Spirit. It flows from one area to another. He said the Spirit, you hear the sound of it, but you can't tell whence it comes nor where it goes. You don't know the beginning nor the end of it. So is the Spirit of God. My brother and sister, when he spoke, he taught spiritual things. He taught spiritual truth by using common, ordinary things of life. His wisdom, the text says, left his audience speechless to the point where they're shaking their heads in disbelief. But then finally, Mark says that not only were they shocked by his words and shocked by his wisdom, but also by his works. He performed many miracles. And his miracles preceded him all the way back to Nazareth. They heard about what he did out and about in the wilderness of Galilee and in the villages and towns that he went there preaching of the kingdom of God and how he performed miracles, how he cast out demons, how he turned water into wine. All of those miracles reach back to Nazareth. That's what it says. And Mark 3 says they were offended. The town, the people heard about the many miracles he performed in other places. And the text says, yet they refused to believe that this same man who was brought up in Nazareth, in the ghetto of Nazareth, that same boy who played with their children, that same boy who grew up into manhood, can't be the same one who's going out preaching and teaching.
He got good news.
They could not believe what they were hearing. And who they were hearing it from. They had a problem with Jesus. They heard what he had to say, and yet it left them with their mouth wide open. Who was this young upstart? This young itinerant preacher. We know who he is. But then secondly, the second point, they stumbled over his personhood. Look at verse 3. Mark says, but people were offended at him. They were offended as they heard the message of the Lord and the word of God. They rejected his message because they thought they knew everything there was about him. All right. They rejected him because they thought they knew who he was. Oh, my brothers and sisters. They watched him grow up. As a child, they watched him and played with their other children, and they knew his family occupation, and they pursued to them was just another boy from the hood. That's all he was. Nothing special about him. He didn't do it while he was growing up here. So they can't be anything about it. They did not deserve it. When we look at this text, he did not deserve their respect because they saw him as any common man of flesh and blood. They knew his occupation. Look at the text. Look at verse 3. Is this not the carpenter? They called him the carpenter. Is this not the Joseph boy who made our tables and chairs? Who fixed the wood of the yokes and the ox? Is this not Joseph boy, the carpenter boy, who made little wooden sticks and made little cradles and so forth? He's a carpenter. Didn't we hire him to make tables and chairs, wooden tables and chairs for us? They view the master as a common craftsman. That's all he is. They looked at him and said in their hearts, "You know better than us. We know from whence you come. But we ain't listening to you. We know who you are." And so, my brothers and sisters, Mark says they were offended. And the word offended here means to cause something to stumble. Their misconception of him or perception of him caused them to stumble. Brothers and sisters, they were offended by his perceived personhood. And since they could not understand him, since they could not explain him, they refused to listen to him at all. They could not get past the fact that he was a carpenter boy. They couldn't get past the fact that they refused to receive his messenger because he was a carpenter. And yet they sensed they couldn't explain him. And since they couldn't explain him, they resorted to ridicule. They started talking with snide remarks about his birthhood. Look what they say. They refer to him as the son of Mary and not the son of Joseph. You can read between lines, can't you? The son of Mary. See, in Jewish culture, a male child is known by his father's name.
All right.
Okay.
They called him Mary's son. Which implies that Mary was a whore. Or she had him out of wedlock.
All right.
You see how folk are in a small community? Just like Peyton Place. Talking stuff you don't know the facts and the truth about.
Well,
That's Mary's boy.
it's Mary's boy.
Forgot about Joseph. Even though Joseph is dead, he's still the son of Joseph.
All right.
Abraham, Isaac, the son of Isaac, the son of Jacob. This is Mary's boy.
All right.
To call him is to talk about his birth. See, since they couldn't explain him, since they could not understand him, now you got to start talking about people's mamas.
Got the mama.
Talking about how he was conceived, who his daddy was. We don't know who his daddy. We know his other brothers and sisters are here. We see Judas and James and Joseph and his sisters. Who was this carpenter? The son of Mary. Child, you know her. You know what she was doing when she was 16? Fast, my. Mama should have put some salt on it. Since they couldn't explain his personhood, they called his birth into question. They couldn't explain his personhood. They couldn't explain his words. That's what verse 2 says. They couldn't explain his wisdom. They couldn't explain the works that he did. And so they became so cruel. Listen to the contempt in their voices in verse 2. When they said, "Where did this man get all information?" Where did he get it from? We didn't see it when he was here. when folk can't accept you, it's because they can't explain you.
All right, preach up.
Because when you can explain somebody, now you got handles on them. Now you know where they're going, who they are. But when they can't have handles on you,
All right, Doc.
they got to bring you down to their level.
All right, Doc.
There's much about Jesus, much about the Word of God, the Bible, and the gospel I may not understand. I want you to hear me. I can't figure out why he loved me. Every day I keep saying, Lord, why do you love me? Why did you look beyond my faults? I can't figure out why he would even care where I spend eternity. Why does he care? If I spend eternity in hell or with him, why? Can't understand how he was able to save me from my sin. There's some stuff about Jesus, stuff about his word, stuff about the things of God that I cannot understand. And yet my questions ought not stop me from believing in him, believing that he is the Savior, believing that he is God who has come in the flesh. What I don't understand, my brothers and sisters, does not and should not prevent me from acting on what I do understand.
All right, Doc.
And what I do believe about him.
Well,
But then third and finally, the people were shunned by his power. Look at verse 4 and 6. Verse 4 through 6. They rejected him. They rejected his message. And the Lord's response to their unbelief reflects a common proverb that we're all familiar with. Familiarity breeds contempt. The people of Nazareth are like people everywhere who take for granted what they have and want what they don't have. They looked at Jesus and saw one of their own and treated him like he was a common person. That's what they did when they looked at him the second time. They saw him as their own, but he was just as common and ordinary to them in their own eyes. Verse 5 tells us that because of their unbelief, Jesus was unable to perform many mighty miracles there. Listen to what he said in verse 5. As a result of their unbelief, he couldn't perform any mighty miracles there, except, watch this, that he laid his hands on a few sick people and healed them. Some of them not right at that picture. He couldn't perform the way he performed in other places, except he laid his hands on a few sick people. Is the problem Jesus or is the problem the people? Because I understand, don't get it twisted, it wasn't the unbelief of the people that hindered the power of Jesus to heal them. No. Because we know Jesus was and is absolutely sovereign. Jesus can do whatever he wants to do with whomever he wants to do it with, whether you like it or not, come hell or high water, when the devil's mad, he can do what no other power can do. He could have done anything there that he wanted to do. But the text says, verse 5 says, as a result of their unbelief, he possessed the power to heal and do great things, but the text says he refused to demonstrate his power in light of their blatant unbelief. And the same holds true today, my brothers and sisters. Don't you expect the Lord to do anything in your life if there's unbelief in your heart. Bethlehem, don't expect God to give you another building if there's unbelief in your heart. result of their unbelief.
Right.
The Lord's hands are tied. He laid his hands on a few. Listen. Mark says only a few people came to him in faith. And those who did were healed.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, look at it this way. Everybody's here. We got less than 200 people here. 10% of the 200 are going to be healed because they believed and they came to him.
All right.
The other 180 are not going to receive the blessing and then get an attitude with God, thinking that God is showing favoritism.
All right. Well.
The text says the rest rejected the Lord, rejected his words, rejected his wisdom, rejected his works, rejected his personhood, and in essence, Jesus rejected them.
All right.
The writer says, it is impossible without faith to please God. For whosoever comes to God must have faith that, first of all, he exists. Second, he rewards those who diligently seek him. Diligently means who are constantly and sincerely seeking him, seeking a relationship with him.
Well.
The text says the Lord refused
Yeah.
to heal others because he witnessed the depth of their rejection of him. Look at verse 6. Look at the Lord's response and reaction there. His text says he marveled at their lack of faith. He stood in awe of the fact that they refused to believe in who he was, even though they had a history. This just blows my mind. In spite of all they knew about him, in spite of all that they witnessed firsthand in terms of his teaching, his wisdom, and his works, Jesus stood in awe that these very same folk who knew him and watched him grow up, and yet as a child to manhood could hear the truth, could see the truth, and still turn a deaf ear to the truth.
All right.
Sometimes, my brothers and sisters, you just can't go home yet.
Man.
Not because of something you did or didn't do, but because the folk at home haven't changed nor grew up.
Well.
That's why you can't go home sometimes. Some folk that you left when you come back, still the same folk who were there when you were growing up. Have you ever taken a trip back to your old neighborhood where you grew up as a child? Nothing is the same. Nothing is the same. When I celebrated my Jennifer, how old are you? 38. When I celebrated my 48th birthday. Okay, my 50th birthday.
Look out. Look out.
I contacted some of my boys. Man, I ain't seen y'all in 30-some years. There's gonna be a party. Send you a text. Some say, I'll be there, D. I'll be there. Not nary ninja showed up. One brother, who was a little older than me, ghosted me. I was at a celebration a couple months prior to. We were sitting at the same table celebrating a mutual family that were relocating from Michigan to North Carolina. And I said, hey, Aaron, I said, give me your number. He gave me his number. I didn't call the number till later. And the number wasn't his. Ghosted me. I need to change my name to Power. You see, you can't go home again. Not because you did something wrong, but folk who knew you then can't accept who you are now. You can't take it personal. When the folk you hung out with when you were in your teens and in your 20s and 30s, they were just friends for a season. They were there to either to pick you up and to elevate you, but you got to leave them wherever level they on, because the Lord will take you higher than where they are.
All right, God.
Jesus could not go home again because he outgrew his neighborhood.
All right, God. All right.
He got too close to God to the point where they couldn't recognize him, the old Jesus to the new Jesus.
Well, all right, God.
They couldn't accept the fact that this young millennial, they still want to look at baby Jesus,
Yeah.
junior Jesus.
Yeah.
And not the man or the Son of God, who now is the Christ, the Son of the living God. You can't go home again.
Can't go home again.
But that's all right. It's all right just to pass through. Because according to this text, when Jesus left Nazareth, there's no record that he ever came back home again.
All right.
He didn't go back home again. He kept on going where God was leading him. And where God was leading him, he was taking him to Calvary.
Yeah.
Thanks be to God. He didn't stop.
Well.
He kept on walking.
Yes, sir.
He kept on preaching.
Yes, sir.
He kept on working miracles.
Yeah.
He kept on doing the things of God.
Yeah.
One day, they nailed him to a cross. They lifted him high. They stretched him wide.
Yeah.
3 days later, they put him in a bar tomb. And he got up with all power.
Yes, sir.
The same is true today, my brothers and sisters. There are folk who will not accept Jesus, his personhood, his words, or his works, because he is foreign to them. As Baptists, we have become a lot alike the people of Nazareth. We become so familiar with the things of God, so familiar with the Bible, so familiar with his crucifixion, his burial, his resurrection, that we no longer are moved by what we hear. Today, if you hear his voice, that's what the Bible says. If you hear his voice, if you receive his words, don't harden your hearts. As the people in this text did. If you hear his voice and receive his wisdom and his word and believe the gospel, the Bible says you shall be saved. That's what the Bible says. And I'm glad about it, my brothers and sisters. I'm glad that Jesus is able to do more for us than we are able to do for ourselves.
Well, all right, well.
Jesus said, here I am. I stand at the door now.
Yeah.
And if anyone hears my voice on the other side of that door, if you open up, I come in
Yes, sir.
Alvin, what's that song? The wine is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's sing that for me. As we extend the doors to Christian discipleship. There may be someone here this morning. Jesus said, won't you please let me in? And you said, I will. Are you here this morning? Man, woman, or child? Jesus said, I am he. Won't you come supply all your needs? This is your moment. It's all good. I know you can come back to the Lord today tomorrow. If your heart is changed and you want to come back with him tomorrow, I give my heart tomorrow. Thought about you today. So much easier to say tomorrow. Tomorrow, better choose the Lord today. Your tomorrow, very well. Hear that song, it says, do you laugh and play and continue on? But he says, tomorrow is not promised to you. When you hear his voice, you need to go. Are you here this morning? Give my life tomorrow. Choose the Lord today. So much easier to say tomorrow. Forget about tomorrow. Better choose the Lord today. Ooh, your tomorrow may very well be today. Is there someone here this morning? Someone here this morning out of fellowship with God. Someone here this morning. You have walked away. You have turned a deaf ear to his voice and to his plea. God is saying, today, you can make it right with him.
Hey.
If you come back home to him, he stands at the door with his arms wide open. Just like the prodigal father did with the prodigal son. All you have to do is come to yourself and acknowledge it wasn't God that moved, it was you
All right.
that moved away.
All right.
And he's at the same place where you turned away from him.
Yeah.
He's waiting for your return back to him. You can't come home. But if your heart is right, and you have made up your mind, you want to get right with God. Today, not tomorrow,
Hey.
not next week, not next month, not next year, because tomorrow is not promised to you. Only today. Stop making excuses. Get right with God today. Let's bow our heads. Eternal God, our Father, we pray for someone in this setting, in this place. Someone is struggling and wrestling with themselves. There may be some sin, there may be some problem, some circumstances. They're trying to wrap their minds around. They have sought other places, other advisors, some godly, some ungodly. And yet, in their carnality, they're thinking that they can solve their own problems. Help them to realize right now, at this moment, that you are available. That your spirit can comfort them. That your word is available and can become a light to their pathway. Help them to understand, Heavenly Father, that they don't have to go alone in this struggle. That you are available today,
Yes.
right now,
Right.
Right now, Lord.
in the name of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
I don't know who they may be. I don't know whether they're young or old or middle age, married or single, with children or not. But you know who they are.
Yes.
Touch them right now in the name of Jesus.
Right.
And then, Lord, there may be someone who's not here, someone that's part of our family.
Yes.
We're praying for them. We lift them up. We ask that you will cover them with the blood of Jesus. Give them that opportunity, that time to make their way back home to you in relationship and in fellowship. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's stand together as we prepare now to leave this place and go next door to our spiritual convocation class. What we leaving on?